allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we do have very few people here. Anyways, this is Tuesday, August 6th, 2019. This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting at the Mitchell County Courthouse. And we have an agenda, and I have a couple things that I want to, number 5, consideration of the Carpenter Barbecue Bash request. We did not receive any info from them, so Mark didn't get to look at it, so we have nothing to discuss on that for the moment. And then items of note, B, jail roof. Mark has the packet yet, and he's not here, so any comments that he might have to help us on that decision. So we'll probably put that one on for maybe next week's meeting. Okay. Anyways, we have an agenda, we've modified it. Do we have any motions? Or any others?
I'll also move that with your changes that we accepted as is.
Second?
Barb has made a motion, Stanley seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the minutes of July 30th and August 1st meetings.
I know, Stan, you said you had a little minor change.
Yeah, let's see.
Was it the one with Dr. Ross?
I added those additional.
Right.
Oh, it already got
Kevin
changed.
Crowell and Jessica Clayton as additional medical examiner investigators. I didn't want it looking like they were the only two, because
Sure.
they would not be.
As additional, okay.
So that change has been made, so moved.
Seconded.
Stanley's made a motion, Barb has seconded. Roll call, Stan?
Aye.
Barb?
Aye.
Smollett, aye. Moving on. County engineer, Richard.
Not a lot to discuss. I'm gonna try to get some equipment quotes out this week if I can. And then get, the wind tower radiuses have been starting to be put back in again for those repairs that need to take place on those new systems. So they're building that up. In the meantime, we're kind of monitoring that. So not a lot. They're a different contractor is doing the work than what we anticipated at first. So there'll be less available rock possibly than what we thought at first. So.
Well, a thought did occur to me, if we would be able to get some additional rock, the 6 Mile corner from either east of St. Ansgar or north, I realize the state owns that, but they hardly use any of that space. You'd think that we could work with the state in order to stockpile or that somewhere.
Oh, yeah, otherwise we were gonna stockpile in Stacyville. A lot of it's close enough that we got that big.
But I mean, if you ran out of space or
Oh, yeah.
Stacyville,
Yeah. Other than that, there's not a whole lot. I mean, we're out blading and doing everything we can to kind of catch up. Now we got some moisture in the roads again. We can start blading and shaping them back up again. But I know that those roads in that wind tower area are gonna be, kind of beat up again with them doing those radiuses. And I'm gonna discuss here too with the EDP people about, cost sharing some rock on these roads now that they're done using them. So I'm looking at a 400 ton a mile placement, and actually trying to see if they'll consider paying for half of that rock since we didn't rock it before they showed up. So can't see that it's completely fair that we put the burden on them entirely when we didn't rock it before they started using them. So if we could 50-50 cost share, I think that might be a good compromise to them. I don't think they're gonna block too much at it. So.
Okay.
And then there's some patching they gotta finish up that I gotta get some quotes out for. They damaged some roads on the T-line and everything else. So that's stuff that we can take care of as we go. I think what'll happen is being the contractors are already gone, they'll use our estimates and cut us a check, and then we'll manage the system after that, so we'll probably try to put a little management cost back into it, since we've gotta do a little bit of the legwork for them, so.
Sure.
But, that's where we're at today.
Anything else for Rich?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
And then
I will be.
stop
right
out there. I was looking at some things, and I know the contract stuff is through, or it just got signed here yesterday, I think it was. But there's supposed to be some stuff I'm supposed to transition that isn't showing up, so I wanna see if it's on the account that you have, and then we can transition stuff, maybe get stuff signed.
Okay, well, as soon as the meeting's over,
Yep.
I'll come right on out,
Okay.
and it's probably not gonna be long,
No,
so.
shouldn't.
Okay, moving on. Number 4, approved for year 19/20 library contract.
This is their annual renewal contract for all the rural libraries. It's the
The only
Same
cha-
contract, no changes, that's the amount.
No changes.
Except for the amount.
Correct.
That's what I wanted to know. So moved.
Second.
Stanley's made a motion, Barb has seconded, roll call, Stanley.
Aye.
Barb.
Aye.
Smollett, aye. So that motion has passed, that has been approved. Consideration of two poles access request. Stan, do you have anything to say on this?
Again, I think that access is starting to be heavily used with kayaks. I mean, every weekend I see pickups and that full of kayaks. This was a request that was first initiated by the county attorney, and I again would recommend that we spend the $5,000 to, it's gonna be a good tourism thing.
Why was this not asked for like in December, like when everybody else asked?
Have to ask the county attorney.
Okay, because I'm actually for this. I would like to use hotel tax towards it. But, you know, frankly, it's kind of late in the season anyway to get this done. So I guess I'd like it presented in December with everybody else, and most likely I'm gonna vote for it, but not at this moment. This is the time of year too that I talked with the treasurer and the auditor that a lot of things got carried over from last year that had to wait until July. And so if you kind of average out what maybe we should be spending a month to not go way over, we were over for July, so I just think this is kind of bad timing to
But if we wait
Do
to
this right
January,
now.
if we wait to January, we won't have the funding until next July, so you're already at the second half of the season
I
anyway.
would even compromise and say they can have the money later this year yet. But I don't wanna give it right now. Steve?
Okay, well, my opinion is like I said from the beginning, this is something that was brought up 15 years ago. And over the period of years, it should have possibly been somehow worked into our conservation. Should have come out of, you know,
I would like to see the conservation maybe work on an access each year.
anyways, in my mind, it's kind of a far cry to call it tourism dollars to go down to approach into the river again.
I definitely think it's tourism. I know we
Well-
disagree on that.
The city
Yeah.
of Osage can say tourism, well, hey, fix our sidewalk.
No, tourism, this is totally tourism. People are coming in to use that access. And when they come into the county, they're buying food here, they're getting gas here. Some of them are even staying all night here. So definitely tourism, yeah. I don't see how it couldn't be more tourism.
Okay,
Auditor Tesh, I see the county attorney thought that apparently at the end of the fiscal year, you've been emptying that account out, and he's mentioned that that should have remained in that account. Is that correct? Or?
It's in the general basic fund, it stays in general basic.
But it's not called tourism?
Well, that's hotel motel,
Yeah, but I mean,
and we did use, well, $3,600 out of that last year.
but I mean,
Shannon, I had her check on that more too, and she actually found where the fund, it's actually supposed to be credited to the general fund, but yes, you keep in mind still that,
You could,
That part
you
of it
have
can
to
be
use
hotel
up to
tax.
50% of
Read
it.
further into that code section, it says it shall be transferred.
right, it actually
Okay.
says that, yeah. I
well, then
got-
the county attorney was wrong on that.
Well,
Yeah,
that's his opinion, and
It's,
maybe,
yes,
and I see his point too, where you keep, maybe, is it a designated fund or not? And I've got a question into our external auditor firm and see, to get their opinion on it too.
because it sounds like at least 50% is supposed to be spent for tourism, so that sounds designated. But it specifically says, put it into the general fund, so.
I see Adam is here, and I'm sure he has an opinion on,
We're just discussing
That was quick. You
the
guys
two
are moving.
goals.
What's going on?
Adam, Steve and I were hoping that you guys, could incorporate that somehow in your budget throughout the years, because that has been being asked for a long time. I am actually fine with using hotel tax for it, just maybe not this month, because we're kinda over budget, and, it'd be kinda late anyway getting something done for this year, but I don't know, what's your opinion?
You know, we can get going on it as soon as we have funding. I know we've been getting pressure for it, but, you know, if we put it in our budget, it'd be something for next year. We'd get funded July. You'd be kinda in the same boat as this year. I understand if it's a monthly thing. I don't know how your fund works there, if you'll have more money before then. It's a good time of year to do it just because of the water level too. It's been high all spring, so that wasn't even an option up until now. Now the river's back where it is, and it should be that way through the fall, but come spring it'll be,
If we waited another month, that still would give you time, wouldn't it?
yeah, I think we could do it yet this year. We'd
Because
probably be good up until November to do it.
but in another month, what would we have for funding?
You
we
wouldn't
have
have any of
the
that
fund.
hotel motel coming for,
A
till
year.
this fall.
That would be like end of November, or? It's-
Probably October.
Don't they figure it quarterly?
Quarterly, yeah.
So,
And this probably would be your busier,
Yeah, and
the better time of year that I think they receive their, and more people staying.
that's true,
but if we're allocating that money into the general fund each year, I mean, it basically is there
I know.
regardless.
I know.
And the other thing of it is, probably isn't every July that we basically go over budget just because this is when we allocate like our,
Right.
so-
Our
6 month-
dues get paid.
yeah, I mean, we allocate the 6 month to the fair board, we allocate the 6 month to,
Right. Well, I
And-
guess
and
that's
so
why I
that's-
thought
Yeah, it's not,
it would be better
in
to
a way,
wait
it's
it.
not over budget, it's just that it's.
We spend a lot at
It's
once.
being expended,
Yeah,
and it's before taxes are coming in.
yeah, and that's another area that doesn't come in till later. So I guess I was hoping for like another month to take it out in another month.
let's do it.
Okay, well, we'll just have to have, do we have a motion for?
So move.
Second?
I wanna wait a little bit. It would still give us time.
Okay, well, it's failed for the moment today anyways. So,
All right, well,
Adam, here, you weren't here. Here's my opinion, and it's my opinion only. It's kind of like the attorney's.
everybody gets
He's
one.
not wrong. But, my opinion is that I see it as a little far stretch for tourism, others don't. I'd like to see you, at least in the future, throw in at least half of it if we do go with this, out of your conservation budget. So, that's my thoughts for the moment. Any other comments?
I liked that idea, because I said I would like to see it in his budget anyway, but, yeah.
You know, if we're gonna do an access a year, this is something that's been known, you know, for years and years,
Sure.
it's been discussed about, and, I guess my idea is if, you know, to take it out of the hotel motel tax, use it as tourism, maybe it's just proof that we've got a hotel motel tax that maybe we don't need. You know, that's my thought. But anyways, we'll see what we can do down the road.
All right, you guys
Well-
let me know.
Well, like, by Acorn Park, is that access adequate, or how,
You know, it depends on who you talk to. Different people want different things. All of them are subject to high levels of maintenance just because of the flooding. And so that's kind of some of what we're trying to do with some concrete and some bigger rock and things like that, is to kick the current out away so that we don't have to continually fix the same problem. So we're pouring more than the 5,000 into them over the course of years, because you're just constantly doing the same thing. Put more rock down, let it wash away. Put more rock down, let it wash away. So we're trying to come up with some permanent solutions that'll be nice entry points for people, and paddling's really just picked up here a lot in the past few years as far as groups going down and getting organized and doing things. There's clubs and stuff now, and they really want these accesses maintained in good shape. And it's a challenge to keep doing the same thing over and over, so we're looking for more permanent fixes to these
That was
things.
another thought of mine, is that if we say yes to this, we're probably gonna get asked for all the others too, which I agree that they probably all should eventually get done, so maybe we can try to, between us, work on some kind of compromise.
Okay.
There's
Get
another,
those done.
and there was another thought process is maybe there's a way where could maybe do a little, look for donations.
Yeah, we constantly got our hand out for stuff,
Okay, well,
so,
you're not alone out there, everybody's
Yeah.
seen, you know, and that's the thing.
yep.
Do
No,
a
there's
little more ground
program.
pounding and see if you can beg some
That might
money
be
out.
good for a separate fundraiser if you're trying to get all the accesses, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah,
an
well,
idea,
Thought.
just a thought out there.
That's all right. There is a program through the DNR that's for water trails that we're applying for that could have some money available to it, although I don't know if they'll be giving us any funds. It comes out of the same fund that their dam removals come out of, so they might say, well, you guys are dipping for the dam removal.
Yeah.
We might not give you this right now, but we'll see where it goes.
That would be nice. and maybe
I'm
some
sure we'll
math or
discuss it
something.
again, if not before, at budget time this year, and get a plan. It's something that's gonna have to be addressed one way or another.
have you ordered some signage for some of these accesses?
It's in progress. We gotta work through the engineer and the state, but, we are. Also, if you do that DNR water trails access, then they change all your signage so it meets the rest of the states. They won't give us the template for what they use, so it's kind of a mess, but we'll probably just do the main ones for now, since we hope to get that grant later and do the more uniform one that people will recognize everywhere they go.
Yeah, the signs probably would be something.
Yep.
Because
Would
we
be
were
good.
discussing earlier Bennett's Access, and I'm like, where's that?
Yeah, there's 3 names for that place and other ones too. It's
And that is south of Osage, isn't it?
it's north, just a little bit on the river road. It's
Oh,
where
it is.
It's called the
well,
Fish
I
Pond, Bennett Access,
I
and Two Poles Access.
Didn't know where,
And a lot of people that do come from away, they're like, and where is this?
Right.
yeah, I thought it
Signs
was
would
another
be good.
And I
spot.
don't know how it ever got the Two Poles name. I don't know any history on that, but.
Used to be called Smoky Joe's back when I was 10, 12 years old.
Oh,
But I told you about that Indian burial ground right across the road. Yeah. But you'll never find it now with all the sumac growing in there.
Yep, I've heard about that too, so.
Two-pole sounds like Native American name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Usually two poles that involved a little extra fun time on the weekend with some beer. Anyways, Adam, there's how we'll leave this and
Yeah, we're
in the
not done
future.
with this, but for the moment.
Yoke. Well,
Okay,
Thank you.
sliding down, items of note, meetings attended. Barb?
Iowa Workforce, 7 of the 15 counties did appeal to the changing of the 15 regions to 6. We appealed to the state and is that the DNR? And there was one, Department of Labor, excuse me. There was one success story that they had with the Iowa Workforce of a young man who came from, off of probation. And he's now enrolled in auto mechanics, so they're always pleased when something good happens like that. They have a short-term women's welding class, and it was held partnering with Iowa Mold Tooling. And they started out with 8, but they're down to 6 that are sticking with it. And they'll probably all be offered a job with Iowa Mold Tooling when they're done. Coming up in September is an intensive high school equivalency course to prepare people for that final exam. And it's from September 9th to November 4th, and it includes some math, and it's free to those that are eligible. Oh, and then, well, we all attended a meeting with Dr. Ross of the medical examiners, and Jess Clayton was also at it. She is a I always pronounce it wrong. Forensic, there we go, thank you. Nurse, and she does case management and much more for the hospital. And Dr. Ross proposed that she and paramedic Kevin Crow do the legwork for the 4 doctors when someone dies in their home or in an accident. And because these are usually night and weekend hours. It shouldn't cost us anything extra except for some one-time training. The actual training part is usually free, but we'd have to reimburse for mileage, room, food expenses. The physicians will still have to sign the death certificates, and Jess has promised to annually look out for grants. And then we also talked about Mercy no longer doing autopsies, which will mean added expense for us. And do you guys have anything to add for that?
I think that pretty much caught it.
Okay, that's all I've got.
Okay, Stanley.
Well, had the same meeting with Dr. Ross, and then last Tuesday night, our redistricting board met, and we're starting to zero in on 1 or 2 plans that we will submit to the Board of Supervisors, and we're going to be meeting again this Thursday night at 5:30 at the library to hopefully come up with the final maps. And there was a need for a couple more county-wide maps, and they are here.
And,
So-
and when's that final meeting? Or you haven't?
Well,
said?
we don't know if it's going to be no, it probably won't be the final, because we still have to also then do, once we get the redistricting maps, we have to do the precincts, I believe.
You have to have a public hearing.
And then
Yeah.
we have to have a public hearing, but,
You guys are working hard on that, I know. Takes a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it, Stan. Well, I guess the only meeting I had's been Bart. Gives as good a, as how the meeting went as could be discussed. Anyways, moving on, we're down to public comments. Is there any public comments today? If not, I'd say